Last time I interviewed tag team champions Rod and Flot. This time I'm sitting here interviewing two-time wXw Unified World Champion Tristan Archer, the French Revolution. I'm happy you're here. How are you doing? And most importantly, what happened to your eye?
I'm doing quite well. I mean, it was not a good day, but I went through it. It was an amazing weekend. I got a very, very great match at Passion Pro, but wrestling is wrestling. I get my head smashed to the ground and I was just there and the bruise going down. So it's getting through my eyes at the moment.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was not able to open my eyes. So today it's a bit better, except that I look like I put some makeup on my face, but the
Yeah,
pain is gone, everything
it,
is gone. So
it suits you. It suits you. Um, so
the only
let's
size.
let's start with a very general question. What is your first memory you have of wrestling in general?
Oh, my first memory was the very first one. I was a four, maybe 5 years old, and it was no school on Saturday, and I just woke up and I wanted to grab some food. So I went to the living room and my dad was watching WWF at this time,
Hmm.
and it was the entrance of The Undertaker. So the TV turned black,
Mhm.
and I heard the ding, ding, and I was hypnotized. Like I just cannot move anymore, and I just sit next to my dad. And I think I watched like maybe 45 minutes of wrestling at that time, and I just don't even think about getting some food anymore. Like I was into it. I fall in love. Very, very first moment I watched my very first wrestling match, I was like, I want to do this. Like the rest of my life, I want to be a wrestler.
Yeah, and that is what you achieved. You've been actively stepping into the ring since 2009, if I am correct. So next question, which wrestlers have shaped you the most or helped you develop the most, especially in the early time of your career, maybe?
Um, as when I was a kid, I was really like, kayfabe and everything. So I was like Kane, the Undertaker, the big
Hmm.
guy. I was really in that kind of guy. And then when I grew up and realized, all the secrets from wrestling, and I was able to identify to guy like kind of my size, like Eddie Guerrero, Jin Marenko, Kurt Angle, all those technical guys that really helped me to find the way I want to be a wrestler. And as soon as I start wrestle, um, I have been lucky enough to work with guys like Tommy Hand, Jonathan Gresham, Chris Hero. You know, those guys really helped me out too. Um, so if I have to pick up five names that define me a little bit, I would say Eddie, Daniel Bryan, Jonathan Gresham, Tommy Hand, and maybe Dove Ziegler for the way he sells stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, agreed. Um, yeah, do you remember your very first wrestling match? I looked it up and you lost to a wrestler called Styx. Yeah, how was it for you to have your very first wrestling match? How was it for you?
It was not the very first because I wrestled in Canada, a rumble and a single match before I get back to France.
Okay.
But the very first match in France was against Styx, and I wrestled on them under the name of David Goliath
Hmm.
because Styx was supposed to be a big dude, and I was supposed to be a small dude. And in the Bible, David against Goliath.
Yes.
So the promoter wanted me to ask to have this name, and I just use it for this show because it was my very first match, and I have no experience and no wrestling name, and you know I start from zero. So I went there, and Sticks, English guy, very nice, very kind guy, look at me and said, "Oh, I'm not gonna squash this guy. He's way too big to be squashed by me. So we're gonna do a maybe 6, 7, 8 minute easy match, and I want him to make me bump at least twice. And the promoter said, "Oh, okay, no problem." And so we've done a very easy match with maybe one shine spot, and then he gave me the cutoff and beat me down for the last 5 minutes, and I got like some hope in it with like some shiny movement and all that stuff. But it was very like it was a very nice first experience in France. The way he built up the match really put me over with the French crowd. So I'm very thankful to have been able to work with him for my very first match in France.
Mm. Yeah, it's like we said, it's 13 or even 14 years ago. What is your worst experience you had in your, well, 14-year career?
Worst experience? I don't know. Oh, yeah, easy, easy, not easy, but it was not the promoter fault. A few time before Cruiserweight Classic, I got a very big injury. My abductor just torn off from the bones.
Mm.
So it was like cuts. Lucky me, we got like a few adductor each size, so I don't need to do surgery or whatever. But like the pain was real, really, really painful. And I was supposed to take some weeks and months off, and I didn't want to because Cruiserweight Classic was coming up, and I wanted to test myself to make sure that even if I'm injured, I would be able to perform at the Cruiserweight Classic. It's, one chance in a million. So I was like,
Mm.
no, I won't pass it. I will do it. I will find a way to do it, go through the pain and test myself to see what I can do, what I'm not able to do. So the very first match after the injury was in France for West Catch. And I told the guy, can you find me, like, can you take me out of this match and find me something like easy I can do? And he said, okay, do a battle royal. I said, yeah, fine. Like, I don't have to bump. I don't have to do, nothing crazy. Just maybe throw some clothesline to take the guy out of the ring. I was in the middle of the ring and tears come off my eyes because everything was painful.
Mhm.
Just getting clothesline was painful. Like, and not light pain, like through like true pain, like for real. Like it was insanely painful. And I just finished the match, like, and they make me won the match. And like I was walking to the backstage and like people asking me, why are you crying? You're so happy becoming the number one contender. I was like, yes, yes.
To-
Like it's
to-
so important for me to becoming the very first, West Catch champion, and it's a moment of a lifetime, and like I was like in my head, I was like, no, if you knew like how painful it was just to be there for 5 minutes, guys.
yeah,
So yeah,
talking about kayfabe.
yeah, kayfabe, but like yeah, it was the worst experience
Mm.
ever for real, like painful, and not only is just the pain. I was like thinking about the Crew Classic in the same time. I was like, if I'm not able to stay in the ring and for like 5 minutes and do nothing, not even bumping and being in that kind of pain, I would not be able to do the Cruiserweight Classic.
Mm.
Like I was working for being able to have a match with WB for like the beginning of my career, and then finally when it's happening, stupid injury in the gym, I was like, fuck. It was like all the match was like Cruiserweight Classic.
Mm.
And like pain. I was not able to stay on my legs properly. I was like, still. That's a very bad memory.
Okay, let's get away from the bad memories maybe and go to the opposite. What's the best experience you had?
Oh, there's a few. There's a few. Uh, but I think the most recent one would be winning the wXw Unified World Wrestling Champion at 16 Carat.
Mm.
Um, I don't even know the plane. Like, I don't even know I was supposed to win the match a few days before. Like for
Okay.
me, for me, it was the belt was supposed to go on Lavaniel or T-shirt, like in my mind.
Mm.
Get T-shirt, came back from WWE, you know, biggest name in Europe, so talented. Like he can carry anyone in any kind of matches. And Lavaniel was so over. Like the people loved Lavaniel so much. The Liebe gimmick and all of that. And it was
Mm.
like the French guy in the middle of it, that the people start loving me in the beginning and then they start to hate me really bad. And I was like, yeah. And then the feeling of being on the top of the biggest company in Europe with that much people around, with this special entrance with the French flag, like I've been working a lot for putting France in the wrestling map, because nobody cares about France when I was maybe like 25 years old.
Mm.
When I started wrestle, nobody cares about France. Nobody knows there was French wrestling. Nobody's give a damn about French wrestler. And I really work hard for that. And last year, March, a French guy was on the top of Europe. And I mean, I made it, you know?
Mm.
So it was clearly one of the best moment of my career. Yeah, for real.
Yeah, I was there. Indeed, a special match, special moment. Pure hate in this in Turbinenhalle, but yeah, it was an awesome moment. And you talked about it. There are many Germans, Hungarian wrestlers, but I think after that we see many, many French wrestlers. I mean, the French Adors, Amel, Calypso, Anastasia Bardot, they all were there yet. How deep is the French talent in wrestling nowadays?
You got also Alex, the ref. One of the ref is French at the moment
Yes,
at
of course.
wXw. And you got Salem at some points. When they do the wXw and friend, you got Kuro, Christianium. You got some Belgian guys so too because they speak French. I took them as French people.
Mm,
And and it's really like nice to see that the doors are more and more open for French people because they are really working hard. I
mm,
mean, they're very serious about it. It's good to gym. They watch wrestling all the time. They ask for advice. They work really hard on the gimmick, on the look, on everything, just to be on the top. And I was like them when I was young, so I really like feel the fire
mm,
uh from the wrestling scene. It's like all the scene. You got good guys, bad guys, but I mean, for most of them, uh, they're really working hard, and it's such a pleasure to see that. Even when I will be retired, the the next generation will do better than me. I'm sure of that.
Yeah, I actually spoke to Tassilo Jung last year around Tech Team Festival, and he told me that you are the one being responsible for recruiting French talent when he need them at wXw shows. So tell us how that goes. Do you, yeah, I mean, being in the scene so long, do you have a large network, or yeah, how does it go?
I'm still working for a lot of promotion in France. I'm in the promotion who looks like promotion. I don't know if you know what I mean, but like the promotion were which are serious, like it was putting money on the table to have a nice setup, to make sure that all the wrestlers are safe, hotel and stuff like that. I mean, if you look at wXw, you know why they are so successful
Mm,
because everything is serious. Like it's a business, but also it's a work. So everything need to be like very serious, very clear. And I'm still working for a few promotion in France that kind of work the same way. And because I'm still there and I'm still, looking at the show and I'm looking at every match and I look at the attitude of the guy in the backstage also to see if they're polite, to see if they are looking for advice, if they are, the kind of people you can trust because in the industry or in the factory or in the business, you need to trust the people you work with.
mm,
So I'm just doing this, and Tassilo and wXw trust me because I'm not um I don't know how to say that in English, but I'm I don't I don't I'm not going to put a friend over if I don't think he's a good wrestler. He
Okay.
could be a friend, he could be the best friend I ever had, but if he's bad in the ring or unsafe or not what wXw is looking for, I will not put him over.
Okay, I
And they
see.
know, and they know I will not. So
Mm.
I think that's why they trust me enough to be that kind of bound between France and Germany.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you spoke about winning the wXw Unified World Championship last year, and you held it for around 9 months. Besides that 1 month we don't talk about. How satisfied are you with your championship run?
I'm very satisfied, and we can talk about this month because this month made me two-time wXw Unified World
True,
Wrestling Champion. You know,
true.
so it was kind of sad, but in the same time, kind of very cool too, because I was working with wXw for not a long time. And if you take a look at the different champion that they have, I think I'm the one who get the title the fastest,
Hmm.
and the one who get the title twice the fastest. And I got a very cool run. I got very good matches with Axel, very good matches with Jörn. I remember one in on board with the crowd. The crowd was amazing. They were chanting um, the Jörn Simon song for like 25 minutes nonstop,
Hmm.
nonstop, and it was crazy. It was crazy. So, and then also a match with Tristan Gresham that I haven't met for like maybe 5 or 6 years, and I won the title the same day, the same weekend. It won the 16 Carat. And for the little story, me and Gresham used to be very close when he was in France. He used to spend time at my place, and we were talking about the future and what we want to do in the wrestling business and everything. So when him and I, like were on the same weekend, was the same promotion, him winning maybe the most prestigious tournament in the Indies, and me winning the biggest title in Europe. And I was like, bro, remember 10 years ago? So it was a very like I was very lucky, and I avoid every injuries. I got some very great matches, some very nice response from the crowd also. It's still surprising to, you know, I don't know if I'm doing my job as a heel well or not well. Hopefully I do. But it's very surprising to see people being happy when I kick people in the balls. Like it's like they boo me, they boo me, they boo me, they boo me. And then I don't know. If you watch the match, the last match when I lose the belt to Lavaniel,
Hmm.
half of the crowd was behind me. And I got and I got Norman to help me out. And I kick Lavaniel in the balls, and the people cheer when I kick Lavaniel in the balls. I was like, "Come on, people!"
Okay, we talked about you being surprised at the crowd's reaction after you kicked Lavaniel in your heel role and expected maybe worse reactions in that matter for you as a heel.
Of
So
course.
yeah, yeah. So maybe you
But
wanted
I
to
think it's a
say.
kind of way to. I think it's a kind of way for them to express the fact that they like my run as a champion, as a heel champion. You know,
Hmm.
like it's the fans are different than the fan in the 80s or in the 90s. Like if you look at Roman Reigns, it's clearly a pure heel, and he gets some innovation all the time. I mean, except in Canada, Montreal, the last time, but like most of the
Okay.
time, you got a cheer reaction from the crowd because I think they appreciate the work he's doing as a heel.
Hmm.
It's kind of weird, but I think we have to deal with that kind of reaction now.
Yeah, but besides, I mean, I am at quite a few wXw shows, at least in around Oberhausen and maybe Bielefeld. So yeah, mostly you're getting good heel reactions. I mean, there are people standing with their middle fingers in front of you and stuff. So I do think you do a decent job.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
So let's get to 16 karat gold. This year is the first time the Unified World Wrestling Championship is fought out at the tournament. What are your thoughts on that?
It's pretty unique. I don't know if it's going to be the same stuff every year, but it's a good premiere. So why not? I mean, it's never done before. So I think it's going to put a little bit more pressure around the tournament
Mhm.
because you could win one of the most prestigious tournament in the indie wrestling world and also the biggest belt in the European wrestling scene. So it's I think the winner of this year 16 karat gonna make history. I think it's really big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
16 guys in the tournament. You are one of them. Do you have a dream opponent or I mean, there are people, fly-ins you usually don't see in Germany. Any one of these guys, you say, "Wow, I really want to
Oh,
fight this guy."
yeah, I would love to wrestle David Richards.
Hmm.
Like I talked about Tommy Hen at the beginning of the interview, and I do remember one interview from Tommy before I signed with WWE, saying that he got 3 or 4 best opponents, and me and Davi were on the list. So since that day, I was like, okay, I want to have a match
Hmm.
with Mr. Richards and see what we can do together. I think we got a kind of style that we can really click well together and have a very great match.
Yeah, I do think, at least while we are recording it, neither your nor David Richards' match is announced yet. So maybe that will be a first round match. We'll see. But yeah, the next few
It's
days
gonna
will
be a
show.
tough first round match for me if it's that.
Yeah, I'll keep my fingers crossed.
If it's that, it would be a harder way to start the tournament.
Yeah, but if you
He's
win,
a
you're gonna beat
veteran.
them all.
Yeah. Like, he's there for like years and years and years, and he wrestled the best in the world, and he's one of the best in the world. So whoever gonna face David Richards in the first round gonna have to give everything because he's a tough opponent.
Yeah, that's true. Um, you have been the champ for the past 9 months. We talked about it earlier. So now you lost the title in December. What are this year's goals for you in wXw or maybe in general in wrestling?
Um, in wrestling in general, the past few years I was in a different kind of mind. I really tried to help out as much people as I can.
Mm,
Give back what wrestling gave to me. I've been lucky enough to work twice with WWE. I've been lucky enough to travel the world. I mean, I wrestled in the USA, Kuwait, Qatar, Malaysia, everywhere in Europe, and it's something that we said in wrestling is like you have to give back what wrestling gives to you. So the past few years, I really tried to give back everything that's wrestling bring into my life, and in general, I really want to try doing this. Like try to catch up one kid who I think is really good, give him some good advice and see what he can do with it, and if he goes the good way, help him one more time, find him somewhere something to do with someone or whatever. Um, and more specific to wXw, winning the 16 carat would be great. Also, a little bit maybe easier to do because winning 16 carat is really tough. Maybe a little bit more easier to do. Being a triple crown champion, winning the shotgun championship at some point, and then winning the tag team. But I need the tag team partner for that. But like winning all the belts that in wXw would be a great moment for me also because that means like a French guy mark wXw history by winning all the belts. You know what I mean? Would be
Yeah,
a good way to finish my career.
I see, I see. Um, yeah, speaking of the tag team belts, if you had to choose a tag team partner to compete for those belts, who would it be?
Hmm. As soon as he's back, Marius Alani. I think me and Marius could be a very, very technical, tough, hard striking tag team.
Yeah, he wasn't in wXw since last year's Carat tournament, if I'm correct. So maybe we'll see
Yeah,
him back.
since the injury. Yes.
Yeah. And maybe
So
we'll see you
hopefully,
too
yeah,
as a
very
tech
soon.
champion.
Yeah, would be great.
So you were talking about wXw. We were talking about the cruiserweight tournament earlier. Next year, or maybe this year, NXT Europe is on the horizon. Is that maybe still a dream for you, or do you say nah?
It depends. Like if they come to me and ask me to be a part of it, and if we get agreed to the terms, it would be a pleasure to work for them. You know, like being a wrestler full time, uh, in good condition, uh, is still a dream for me. I mean,
Mm.
okay, I work twice for them, and I'm still able to wrestle travel the world because being a wrestler is not only working for WWE, it's just giving like emotion to the people everywhere you go. That's the way I see wrestling. But like, if I'm able to do it with WWE and you know doing it full time and not only during the weekend and not only like having another job and then like working 5 days a week and then working 2 days a weekend and have no time to like breathe and relax a little bit.
Mm.
If WWE give me the opportunity to only able to do being a full time wrestler, of course. I mean, it's a new adventure. It's everything is need to be built. So if you need me to bring my experience and like I'm not gonna say a pillar, but like being someone they can trust on, I would be so happy to be there, of course.
Yeah, I'll keep my fingers crossed, and maybe they need someone with the connectors in France that you got. Um, I only have one final question left for the wXw fans. What is the boldest prediction you have for wXw in 2023?
What is what?
The boldest prediction you have for wXw this year?
The bonus prediction?
Yeah, a prediction for this year. Where is wXw heading? What weird storyline will we get? Something like that.
Prediction.
Yes.
Like what I was what hmm hmm I don't know. Oh, why not? I don't know. Maybe Tristan Archer in the tag team tournament, you know, World
That
Tag Team
that would
Festival
that would be
would
great.
be great.
Yes.
Would be
Very good.
great.
Yeah,
That would be great.
definitely.
I just need to I just need to find someone to do crazy tag team match for 2 days, and but I need to find someone. I will. Like it will be my main goal now.
Yeah, well, you have a few months left to do so. So yes,
I
we'll
know.
we'll see.
Time runs so fast.
Okay, that's true. But maybe you'll get lucky and find someone. I'll keep my fingers crossed. And Tristan, thanks so much for your time. I mean, a lot of technical difficulties. You had a rough day, but
Sorry, I'm
still,
so sorry for all
it
of
it
this.
it's fine. It's fine. I'm looking forward very much to seeing you in Oberhausen in, yeah, around, what is it, 3 weeks?
Yeah,
Yeah,
a little bit more than 3 weeks. Yes.
a little bit more. Yeah,
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you
thanks.
for your patience. It was
No
not a
problem.
lucky day for me. So you've been very patient. So I really appreciate that. Thank you
No
very
problem.
much. Thank you for everyone who's listening right now. And hopefully see you all around at the wXw show. Don't be afraid. Come say hi.
Yeah, I can't find better words. That concludes the interview. Thanks to Tristan, and until then, bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.